Hello, my name's Bob. Are you ready to talk about blend modes? Yes. Did I brush my hair? No. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. So these are the two concepts to take in. Here we have three objects, a circle, a square, and an image. And we're going to clip the square inside the circle. And you can see, there we go, we move it around. And we can clip the circle into the square. Same thing, clippy, clippy. You just sort of tuck it in until you can feel it snap. There you go. Beautiful. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is how to use a blend mode. Now this is as basic can be. We have a picture of some grass and we hit multiply, color burn, blah, blah, blah. You can preview these in real time in the Affinity apps. In other apps, no names mentioned, you can't view them in real time. But you will find blend modes in every design app, even 3D and animation apps. So let's put these concepts into action. Now I should mention at this stage that this is Affinity Designer on the Mac. So if you're using a Windows machine, it might look a little bit different. And my interface is probably a bit different than yours. I have styles over on the left. So we've drawn two identical shapes. One has a solid color and one has a radial gradient to give it a bit of depth. I'm just going to add a quick shadow on it, very sloppy. There we go, it's the way I like it. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get a pixel image and add it to the solids. So we're going to use a feature called the stock panel. And the stock panel allows you to place free stock images from various websites like Unsplash, etc. And I've searched for paper texture and double click and boom. Now you'll notice that the texture is such a high resolution that I have to zoom out to get the handles and resize it. And now I cycle through some blend modes and you can see there's an instant reaction or an instant effect, but it's not that great. If we clip it inside, but we'll see when we copy and paste the same bitmap into the vector with the gradient, you see how it reacts. Oh, look at that. Nice. Nicey nice. You know, during the quarantine, my wife has been here all day and she says to me, what are you doing in there? Or rather, who's in there with you? She hears these sounds like, oh. Yeah, that's me having fun. It's me doing my day job, baby. So the next thing we're going to do is to add a style. See that? With one click, I've added a bitmap to a vector shape. Now I'm adding in some shadows which come with the Chisel. Now the Chisel is an asset pack that I made for Affinity Designer. But don't worry, you'll hear a lot more about the Chisel as we go on. So again, using the stock panel, I randomly searched for two images, a cat and universe, to show you more blend modes. So if we take the cat layer and reposition it like that, if you press Y to reveal the transparency tool, you see that you can actually apply transparency in a gradient to bitmaps. And you can get some really interesting effects with this. So here we do it again. We plop in the sky, some mountains, hit the blend modes, and you can see, wow, look at that. Looks like a Peter Gabriel album cover or something. Nice reference there, throwing some onions. Same thing, press Y, there you go, nice. A great shortcut or a great effect is to put a solid over your composition, press Y, and there you go, you get a nice vignette or a nice lens flare effect. So let's look at a slightly more complex example of the same concept. So here is a composition, here's a picture that I made in the iPad version of Affinity a few years ago. And it's full of the same tricks where we have basic vector shapes with bitmaps tucked inside them. So the pizza box is just a simple rectangle with a photo of cardboard tucked inside it. And then we're going to show you my favorite trick in the world. Here we see this pizza base here. I use this pizza for everything. With blend modes, you can use a pizza for a sky texture like clouds, or my favorite thing, lava. Now here is a board game that I made last year, available on Amazon. Get the plug-in, and the lava is pizza just with a blend mode. Who'd have thunk it? There we go. Nice lag, man. There you go. But look at those little worms. So now, into the hardcore demo. So I made this on the iPad as well. And this piece, I always show people this piece because it's primarily made of vector shapes. If we just zip across, you can see all of the main components are vector shapes with gradients applied to them, or bitmaps tucked into these vector shapes. And you can see that the rain is a vector line with a dash and a weighted stroke applied to it. So this piece is full of little tricks like this. And the big trick that we're talking about today is the use of bitmaps creating textures, or even textures, strike that, reverse it, textures creating magic. So you can see that this bitmap here, it applied a texture effect to the sky and the foreground. Yeah, just a piece of photo. And if you plop it over the top and the same thing again, you can see instantly you get some crap but some interesting effects. So back into the stock panel, we're going to search for some FUR. F-U-R. I drag in this pink fluffy one, and again it's far too big, which is a good thing. The resolution on these photos is really big. So we copy it, we cut it and then paste inside. And then we hit I always go multiply or overlay are traditionally the best blend modes. But the fun is just going through them all and see what happens, because you never know what's going to happen. That looks cool. And because that has the blend mode applied to it, you can just copy, paste inside. Boom. There you go. Press G to reposition it. Same thing. Plop, plop, plop. And now we have a really cheap and effective effect for our hug machine bear. So now I'm going to show you a fantastic little sneaky trick that not a lot of people use or know. The back wall has this cool grain effect, and that's actually a native effect to Affinity Designer. If you click the opacity, there's a little there. I'm going to zoom in here. Zoom in there, Bobby. There you go. If you click the noise panel, or the noise slider can be revealed by clicking the opacity thing. And that adds, we're going to do it again here. We just draw a circle, put a quick gradient, zoom in, click it, Bobby, and you can see it applies a grain effect. What am I doing here? Yeah, you can start it. Yeah, you can see there's a grain effect applied. Whoa, Shizzle attack. There we go. Nice. So let's get back to the lecture at hand. Lecture. So we're going to add some chisels to the vector shapes. Now, a style is a pre-saved color fill stroke that you can reapply with one swift click of your mouse button. And I must mention at this stage, and I always say it, that I don't use a fancy graphics tablet, and I don't use one of these, what do you call it, Bluetooth mouse. I use an old school crappy, I believe it cost €8.99 for this mouse. The cheaper, the better. I find a nice heavy mouse is what you want. You can use it as a weapon as well, you know. So here we go. I'm adding in. The Chisel is over 100 unique styles that I created. But you also get an asset pack that has lots of bits and pieces that you can just drag and drop into your composition. So you're going to hear the word chisel a lot in this video. Or rather style. So the Chisel is a collection of styles that I made. It's 100 and I think we're up to 110 or 120. I don't know. We just released an update for it a couple of days ago, and it's an ever-growing collection of handmade textures, real-world madness that I'll say it, curated, that I've created in Affinity Designer to allow you to add amazing hand-drawn effects in a couple of seconds. And it's early days yet. Every few weeks I add my own styles. Again, I made this for my own personal use, Governor. and it's growing and growing. If you do decide to buy it and make something, please drop me an email to show me how you use it or any suggestions, because as I said, this is primarily made for me because I use it every day, but I want to make it, you know, more approachable. I understand that it's the promo graphics look a bit spooky, a bit creepy, but you can see you can use it for loads. You can use it in loads of different ways. Whoa! Look at that, nice. See that? I just plopped in a rain effect. A rain photo from Unsplash there, and instantly I got the idea. If you draw a simple 5-point box like that around it, it looks like the view from a car window. If we just tuck the rain layer into it, there you go. Bring that down a bit up. So now I think you're beginning to see the power and the fun of using blend modes in Designer. And in Affinity Photo and Affinity Publisher, it obviously works too. It's all the same. This is the second video that I've made for the creative session series. I made one back in March. It's still on the Affinity channel, and it's great. I must say I put a lot of work into it, but it's a bit advanced for complete beginners. So hopefully you're going to pick up some new tips and tricks from this one. It seems like March was a lifetime ago. The world has changed so much, but at the same time we're still in the same situation. So to all the designers out there, no matter where you are in your career, if you're a hobbyist or a pro, keep pushing yourself every day, learn new things. And I have to give a shout out to Serif, the people that make the Affinity apps. I'm going to do this in a Wu-Tang Clan style. So big shout out to Ash, Kate, Neil, John, Nick. I don't even know what Nick does, but he's a great bloke. And of course, Matt Priestley, the wizard. If we're using the Wu-Tang Clan reference, he would be the Jizza. Serif forms like Voltron, and Matt Priestley's the head of development. So big shout out to all the lads. You're doing fantastic things. You changed my life, man. It's weird. When I found the Affinity apps, I stopped working in design. I was so, not disillusioned, but I was just sick of being an illustrator, sick of being a comic artist. And I was working in, I would say, the corporate world. I was a for the company. And then when I found the Affinity apps, it's given me a whole new lease of life. And as you will see later, some of the new stuff that I'm working on could only be made possible because of, mostly because of Affinity Publisher. Now getting back to what I'm doing on screen here. Throwing in some crazy lightning effects, some neon glows. I could do this all day, every day. And I do it with a smile. I love doing this. So we're nearly finished with the bear. And the next part of this video is going to show you how I use the same effects for a comic page. There we go. There's some cheerful blood I just pulled off Unsplash directly from the stock panel. It's fantastic. And then the same thing, I will paste that into the bear's paw and change the blend mode to merge it with the layers below. There we go. Lovely. Nice. So here's a comic page, and the same thing, all of the basic shapes are vector layers, and then I have textures tucked in or clipped in to the vector layers. So this cheerful fellow down at the bottom here is the black area is the ink, which is a raster, a bitmap layer, and then the color is our vector shapes. So if I click on the styles, instantly, Shizzle Mac Whizzle, you can see the magic. Boom, boom, boom. Nice. Some great effect. Oh, look at that one. That's the one. So we've looked at using the stock panel and styles, but what about using your own photos? So this morning I was walking the dogs, and I'm always taking photos of textures that I find. There we go. This was about 1 hour ago, and look at that. Snappy. So I take a photo of that, and then I can use that as an interesting texture. So you know the drill by now. Cut, paste inside, and then change the blend mode to something interesting. So right now we just see a normal photo, and then we change the blend modes. Ooh, that's a bit heavy. Yeah, that one. Look at that. So you can use just about anything as a texture. Back in the day, I used to have hard drives, loads of external hard drives just full of textures of photos that I'd taken myself, that people have given to me, and stuff that I found online. So I could never really share any of those in any official way because I didn't own the sources. So in the past 2 years, I've started fresh. Every photo that I take, I can trace the origins of each texture that I use or that I include in the Shizzle. And I'm also working on a couple of new style sets for Affinity Designer. Affinity Designer 1.9 is just around the corner. Ooh, it looks fantastic. The new contour tool in 1.9 is going to be, I hate this expression, but it's going to be a game changer for me. That's a whole separate video just on that tool alone. You know, at the start of this year, my New Year's resolution was to make more YouTube videos, but I've only made 2, and I can blame COVID for most of that. But I don't know. I have to get my act together. I'm not really into social media and all these things. You know, I tried TikTok, but it didn't work out for me. Maybe it was the accent. Maybe it was my dungarees. I don't know. And I know you're going to hate me for saying this, but Shizzy McWizzy. Look at that shizzle magic. Come on. Even if you're not into comics and robots and all those things, you have to admit that it is fun to mess around with these things. Like it's it's a massive time saving tool, the Shizzle Set, or styles in general. But then I spend so much time playing with it, like this, saying, oh, this one, not that one. So maybe it's not a time saving tool in the end. You know, of course you could manually draw all of this with a pen or you know, on the iPad. But who has time for that, you know? So now we're going to look at some other applications for the Shizzle and styles in general. When you're working on a project, you can make a design motif and instantly apply it and save a lot of time and a lot of brain power. You know what I mean? So this logo, or this Japanese writing at the bottom, has a grain texture. So instead of using a texture, I used vector shapes and applied one of my Shizzle styles to it. And you can see by pressing G, I can reposition the direction of the fill or the texture. Now over on the left, I'm switching between the different sets of styles. In the Shizzle pack, there's 3 sets. Right now, there's 3 sets covering, I think it's 120 styles. And it's going to keep growing and growing. And then after this, I'm going to show you some of the new ideas that I have for styles, etc. Yeah, the kanji flashcards, that was a big project I just finished. Here's the board game that I just released, available on Amazon. And you can see these bricks on this temple here. That was made with a style. Now, this style is not in the current Shizzle set because I'm still playing around with it. But I'll show you. If I draw a very basic structure, there we go, clickety click, duplicate drag, and resize it. Select both of them and apply the brick style. And after this, I'm going to show you one of the new style sets that I'm working on. You know, as I get older, I tell people that I'm a designer and they go, "Oh, a fashion designer." And I nod politely, when in reality, I turn pizza into lava. But La Textura is a new style set that I'm working on based on feedback from, or requests from people to make repeating seamless fabric patterns. I have a couple of friends over here in Spain that work in the fashion industry, and based on their feedback, to be able, what I'm showing you here, to change colors, change textures really simply. So that's coming next. So now we switched over to Affinity Publisher, and I'm going to show you some of the other stuff that I do. This is a massive project, 125 cards, all made within the same app. So we're using the the designer persona in Affinity Publisher. You can apply styles, you can do blend modes and all that stuff. Here's a new card game that I made, and again, there he is. As I was making it, I used a lot of styles and a lot of blend modes, all done in record time and all done in the Affinity apps. It's another one that I made. I can zoom in here and I'll show you the same thing again. A really quick logo with a style. So let's recreate one of these little dudes. You draw a circle, you hit a style, you change the base color, and then you can change the blend mode of the texture that is applied. There we go. And I always have my asset pack, my assets that I reuse, like mouths and eyes like that. Now I'm just goofing around. So right now there was an update to the Shizzle. How many times have I said that word today? So these are all the styles that come with it. That's part 2. And as we get down to the bottom, you will see the updated styles, the new ones. And I put in a new one called Hearst, which is a whole new direction. So we take our trusty robot, which comes with the Shizzle set, and we're going to apply the new styles. Now check this one out. Come on, next one. Next one. This one. Look at that, a metallic. That looks amazing. Yeah, and the same thing, press G on your keyboard to show the control handles, and you can change the direction. I really like this one. So maybe this will be a whole new branch. This style here, called Basura. And I found this image while walking the dogs. There's been a massive increase of people fly tipping the entire contents of houses, and it seems to be the same company or the same group of lads that are doing it. So right now we have a little sting operation going on to catch them between me and a couple of neighbours. And here is the user guide that comes with the Shizzle. That's full of tips and tricks and examples. Lovely. And if you want to see more of the origins of some of the images like that, there's a video up on my own YouTube channel that goes into that kind of stuff, and more of the same in a much less professional manner, if you can believe that. And that's it. Thank you so much for making it to the end. The links are below. See ya. Thanks for watching. Bye.